Hello everybody, good morning and welcome to the United Stands. I'm Mark Goldbridge and this is your latest Manchester United transfer news, and we're going to start off where we have to start off. Lots to get into, but we're talking Benjamin Sesko. Is it going to be deal day on Sesko? We actually had our first late night show of the summer, which is incredible considering the transfer window's been open for 2.5 months now, but we had that late, massive, huge bid from Newcastle of 80 million euros plus add-ons, which is 69 million pounds. But the bottom line is Sesko decides. Now, what he decides, we'll hopefully find out today. But Sesko decides. And my personal feeling is that in the next 24 hours, Newcastle are going to pull out. Just like they did with Ekitike, just like they did with João Pedro, just like they did with Delap. I think they will. I think that is going to happen. I think that Newcastle, have pulled out more times than a magician pulls a rabbit out of a hat. And I think they will be pulling out again. And you can clip me on that. I do. I think they will pull out because I think that, to their credit, they're trying everything to get this deal done. They're trying to, price Man United out of the market. They're trying to show to Sesko that they really want him. But look, I'll read you some of the headlines this morning. James Ducker in The Telegraph. Benjamin Sesko is waiting to see what Manchester United do before making a final decision on his future. It doesn't get more definitive than that. And I think the most important thing is the only people with the actual power in this is Sesko. Now it is a news show. We've got some stuff on the goalkeeper, on the midfielder, also on Rasmus leaving and a couple of other bits as well. But we'll focus in on Sesko this morning because the belief is that something's going to happen today, that Newcastle have set that deadline. But everything you read, and we'll read what Fabrizio Romano's got to say next, but Sesko is waiting for Manchester United. Now, I'm sorry, as I said on the show late last night, some of you might not have seen it. If I'm Newcastle and I'm putting this money in, and I'm having chats and I'm saying, come to us, come to us, come to us. And all I'm getting back is, oh, I really do like you. I really do like you. I think you've got a great personality. Can we just be friends because I fancy Man United? And I think Newcastle are in danger of being friend zoned here. They're doing absolutely everything. They're whining, they're dining, they're taking him to the cinema, they're offering him holidays. They're doing everything they can. And he's still going, yeah, I just want to see what Man United are going to do. Come on. I mean, how naive do you need to be on life and lessons to understand that if you go for somebody and you're offering them everything and they're still going, I do like you, but I'm just waiting to see if I get a better offer. Come on, how and even the most staunch Newcastle fan has to admit that ain't good. Why would you not take the Newcastle offer? It's there. Even Leipzig apparently haven't accepted the Newcastle offer because they've got a good relationship with Sesko, and he's saying, basically, don't accept it because I don't know what I want to do. So even these offers from Newcastle, even the huge super duper 90 million euros package hasn't actually been accepted because they know at Leipzig they've got a relationship with Sesko, and if they accept that, they could be unsettling their player that they've got a good relationship with. So effectively, the headline this morning is Sesko decides. What he decides, we don't know yet, but he decides. So all the bidding to Leipzig, all the bidding from Newcastle, United staying quiet, it's Benjamin Sesko who decides here. And hopefully we're going to get that decision today, but he's the one with the power. He is the power play person here. He controls what's going to happen. And if he just suddenly goes, you know what, I do fancy Newcastle, I don't think Man United can afford me, then that will happen very, very quickly. But if he's going to say, I'm waiting on Man United, then it won't happen very quickly. Now, the update from Fabrizio this morning is this. As of tonight, Monday, Benjamin Sesko still has not decided what he wants to do, taking his time and assessing all of the options with Newcastle and Man United. Newcastle will give the salary that Sesko wants. They're prepared to pay whatever it takes. Newcastle are showing that to Leipzig with facts now, with the money on the table. However, Newcastle don't want another situation like Ekitike or João Pedro, where they miss out on a player in the race. They want a decision soon and will not wait many days. As of tonight, Leipzig have not accepted the bid from Newcastle because it will be Benjamin Sesko that dictates the story. There you go. I hadn't read this bit. So basically, Leipzig have not accepted the big package from Newcastle because it's Sesko that will dictate the story. Sesko decides. Newcastle are playing hard. I'm struck. Do you think Fabrizio's turning into you know, what's her name? Who used to do the cooking program? What was her name? Not Cruella de Vil. Nigella Lawson. You know, she used to do cooking and then she'd throw in sexual innuendos. Because I'm reading this update here. Leipzig have not accepted the big package from Newcastle, but Newcastle are playing hard. Manchester United reacted by telling Leipzig again in verbal contact that they are aware of the bid from Newcastle, but will also bid for Sesko if he decides to come to us. So, look, I remain calm. I'm like the ocean on a lovely sunny evening. I am calm. You know, put me on a lilo. Don't put me in the ocean. I won't be calm. I'll be thinking about sharks. But put me on a lilo, on a pool, on a nice sunny day with one of those drinks holders, and I'm lying there just relaxing. I'm calm. I'm calm. You know, I'm absolutely calm. I feel that my opinion time, and you can get yours in as well. I feel that nothing is changing here. All the noise, all the panic, all the desperation is Newcastle, to their credit, trying to get a deal done that nobody really thinks they will get done. And Man United are just sat there calmly in the background, not saying anything, working on Sesko. And I think we've already worked on Sesko, because I don't think David Ornstein drops that story last week if we haven't worked on Sesko. So I think we're going to get him. It's incredible to me that people are saying walk away. Interestingly, I was looking at the odds, the betting odds on strikers. Watkins to Newcastle is far better odds than you'll get, far lower odds, far more likely than Man United getting Watkins. So I don't think we're going back into that race. And I think that the most important update we have this morning is that, as the headline said, Sesko decides. And some people go, well, what's his decision? No, read. English language can be read in different ways. Sesko decides is the headline. Leipzig have not accepted Newcastle's bid because they won't do that without knowing what Sesko wants. Sesko has not made his decision, and Man United are believed to be the club he's waiting for, and United won't make a bid until Sesko decides. So every angle points to the fact that Sesko's got to decide. And when he does, the decision will be done and the deal will happen. And I think everybody has to just wait for that. And some people are panicking and saying walk away. I mean, I don't even, you know what I find hilarious about the walk away thing? Walk away. 90 million euros is too much. It's not 90 million euros, but it's too much. 90 million pounds. Well, why are you adding pounds on? You're like Sky Sports. It's 90 million euros for a start. Well, it's too much. Euros aren't pounds. Have you ever been on holiday to Benidorm? Pounds ain't euros. Well, 90 million pounds is too much. You don't work for Sky. You're doing it again. Basically, you're making Man United euros into pounds and vice versa to make it sound really good. It's not 90 million euros, it's 80 million euros, and 80 million euros is 69 million pounds. Who didn't think we were going to pay 69 million pounds for Sesko? Use your bloody brain. It's almost like it's been a shock to people that we're paying 70 million for Sesko. Let's round it up. Let's do a Sky Sports. Let's round it up. So it's 70 million pounds. And people are saying walk away. And I'm like, but it was 70 million pounds for Arsenal. It's been 70 million pounds all summer. It was 70 million pounds when you're getting really excited about Ornstein's update. It's always been 70 million pounds. Look, we paid 65 for Mbeumo, and Mbeumo is a good signing, but Sesko is going to be the striker for the next 10 years, or we sell him in 5 years. So 70 million pounds with add-ons is the going rate. It really is. It's not 78 million. Oh my God. Can the chat sort this out? I've got people in the chat going, it's not 70 million pounds, mate. I've got Noz saying it's 78 million pounds. Look, I ain't getting into an argument with you, because this isn't me against you. This is facts against you being wrong. The bid from Newcastle is 80 million euros. That is 70 million pounds rounded up. You don't do add-ons. Add-ons are not part of the price. You don't work for Sky Sports News. Add-ons aren't on the price, because add-ons don't get paid unless the player does well, in which case you'll happily play the add-ons. It's 70 million pounds, which is 80 million euros. And if you're turning it into any other number, you're wrong. You're basically wrong. You don't pay add-ons. That's why they're called add-ons. You pay them later if the player is successful. So we don't care about that. It's not that. Lorenzo says it's still 78 with add-ons. No, it's not, mate. Right, we're moving on. There are idiots who are live out there who do low IQ content. Like, can we direct them to them? Because, yeah, we're just ignoring these rage baiters. There is content out there. It's not the United Stand, which is on a higher level, but there is stuff for you. You can scream and shout about things that aren't true on there. So look, where we are with Sesko, hopefully we get the decision today. We're not going to walk away. Man United are not going to walk into this deal not knowing those prices, because it's always been around 70. Yeah, look, Arsenal got Gyökeres for 55 plus 5, but it's 55 or 57. Well, it was more about 60, wasn't it? Because the agent waived their fees. So Arsenal effectively paid about 60 for Gyökeres. But he forced his way out of Sporting. You know, Sesko's always been 70, and I think we'll pay it. I think we will pay it, and I think we should get it done. I understand that Newcastle are trying to push the price high, but you can't push it they can't push it any higher. I think Newcastle have pushed it to the limit of what you can do, because there is a release clause and there is a special relationship. So Newcastle have pushed it up, and they want to pay the money up front. But again, people are panicking about that because this broke last night, but Newcastle want to pay the 69 million up front, and Man United will want to do it in installments. Irrelevant. Absolutely irrelevant. You know why that's irrelevant? Because people think, well, if we can only pay it in installments and Newcastle can pay it up front, Leipzig will pick Newcastle. Well done. Well done. If someone wants to buy my house and they're going to give me all the money up front, and someone wants to buy my house and they're going to give it me over 5 years, I'm going to choose the person that's going to give me the money up front. However, I'm not in control. Sesko decides, not Leipzig. If Sesko says, I want Manchester United, Leipzig can't go, you're going to Newcastle because they're going to pay the money to us up front. As Sesko, you go, I'll stay here for a year then. I don't want to go Newcastle. I want to go Man United. So it's irrelevant. That is absolutely irrelevant. It's a better package for Leipzig, but they've got to persuade a player to go somewhere that he might not want to go. So that won't be happening. But look, there's a lot of Newcastle fans who've been tuning into the United Stand. I don't know whether you have your own content, but in fairness, I don't have a problem with Newcastle on this. Let's play devil's advocate. If this deal was to happen, fair play. They've embarrassed us. They've tried their best. They've had a horrific transfer window. I don't really understand why, but if they got this deal over the line, it would be a fantastic deal for them, and they must be applauded for it. But I think ultimately, you know, Man United have a play, and I think it will come very, very clear. And as I said, I have got no information on this at all, but my feeling is, one, that he will sign for us. I'm very confident about that. But two, Newcastle are going to pull out, because once you've made your big offer, and they have, and you don't get a decision from the player, why would you hang about? Like, if you go to the bar, and again, we're back at the bar again, but you go to the bar and there's someone you fancy there, and you go up to them and say, do you want a drink? And they say, I might do. I'm just waiting to see if this person I like comes back and offers me a drink as well, and then I'm going to make my mind up. You might think it's worthwhile hanging around there for a little bit, but then when you're waiting too long and you go, do you want a drink? Last chance. And they go, I'm going to wait. You're going to leave. And I think at some point, Newcastle will just go, you know what? We've laid our cards on the table. We're still waiting. We've offered so many times. We need to back off. You know, we look like mugs here. And I think that will happen. I think that will happen. Let me just have a quick chat at what you lot are saying, because we've got quite a lot to get through on this show this morning. Convert 80 million to yen and watch the idiot minds explode, says Josh. Sir Alex Ferguson walked away from Lucas Moura. We should too, says Tilak. Right, mate. I understand that you want to walk away. Absolutely fine. But give me the grounds for Manchester United to walk away. This is what I don't understand. It's too much. We must walk away. It was 69 or 70 million pounds last week when we hadn't bid. And we haven't bid now. It was 70 million pounds last week when David Ornstein said we're all in for Sesko. We've walked into this knowing the price, and you're saying walk away when we knew the price. He's always been 70 million because that's the package that Leipzig threw at Arsenal. And it was the package that Newcastle were going to pay. You might not like the price. Man United have walked in knowing that. So we don't walk away. We lose or we win. And I think we will win. If it was £90 million, and I cannot express this enough, It's not £90 million. It's not 90 million euros. It's 80 million euros plus 10 in add-ons. So he has to do well for it to go to 90 million euros. It's 80 million euros base, which is 70 million pounds. Fact. So we don't need to walk away from it. We don't need to walk away at all. If it was 80 or 90 million pounds, I'd probably say to you the same. Do we really want to do this? It's got Anthony, Sancho, Pogba vibes about it. But at 70 million pounds, Man United have walked into this. So, you know, I understand people say, let's walk away, but we've known for about nearly a week that United know this, and we've all been celebrating it. So what's changed to make you walk away? Nothing. Fear is making you walk away. Fear is making you go, I don't want to lose to Newcastle, so let's pretend we don't want him anymore. You may as well, look, everybody's different, but the way I look at it is, we've walked into this fight, we've got into the ring, and we've you're effectively say, throw the towel in because you think we've been hurt. I say, don't throw the towel in. I don't think we're hurt. Carry on with the fight that we wanted. And if we lose, we put our arms up and say we lost. But I ain't giving in when there's nothing to give in for at the moment. Watkins should never be more than 40 plus 10. Newcastle offer for Sesko is at 69 plus 6. It's not a crazy price. We just want player commitment and no bidding wars, says Derek. I wouldn't be surprised if he stays at Leipzig, says Malachi. I don't think Leipzig would mind him staying, and maybe he would stay. But I think, look, I think the trouble with no news is it becomes a vacuum for noise and experience. Look, I was thinking about this morning, and I'm quite proud of the fact that there's a lot of people not really doing this. I think that despite the horrific things the Glazers have done, and despite the last 18 months under Ineos not being great, what I do quite like among the fan base at the moment is that people aren't really going mad. They're not really going, oh, look at us again, embarrassing ourselves. I think that will come, but I think there's an incredible amount of sort of patience around this and trust. And maybe we shouldn't trust this negotiation team. Maybe we shouldn't trust the Glazers and Ineos, but I actually think they're going to get it right. And a lot of people have said to me, well, why aren't you ranting and raving? Because I think we'd end up looking stupid. I mean, I don't think it's the most amazing deal in the world, by the way. I think if it does happen, I'm not going to sit here going, oh, Murtar Madness, not Murtar Madness, Barada Bonanza or Wonderful Wilcox. I don't actually think it's the world's best deal. I think it's the best deal we can do at the moment, but it's still late in the window. It's still option E. I believe we'll get it done. If they don't get it done, then they will obviously get scrutinised. Frank says, if that's Ineos' way of trying to bargain the price down by saying Sesko wants us before they bid, that's actually embarrassing. Just get it done, says Frank. No, I disagree, Frank. You're basically saying let's bid when we don't know whether he wants to come. And then you have a bidding war for Leipzig and it gets silly. I think we're playing a power play ourselves. Sesko will decide this, and we're just saying, look, we only want players to come to Man United that want to come. That's been a policy for 12 months now. We're not going to bid if we don't know whether you want to come. We really want you. We've played, it's not that we're saying we don't want you. We do want you. We really want you. But for us to bid, as we did with Mbeumo, as we did with Cunha, as we did with De Ligt, as we did with other players, as we did with Yoro, you've got to decide that you want to come to us, and then we'll go and get you. But we're not bidding blindly, because that's not what we do, which I think is the right thing to do. Slow Sports News, how are you doing? He says, if Sesko is waiting for us to make a decision, says a lot about his choice of club. Newcastle know they're losing Isak and are acting out of pure desperation. Could this be a hat-trick for United? Morning, Mark. Seeing Newcastle panicking because they've been so public about their bidding and United being quiet is quite entertaining, says Horn. This is why you're the GOAT. Amazing comedy, says Jacob. It was unintentional comedy if there had been. They won't want to, you should have seen my cocktails last night. They won't want to upset Sesko in case he stays, says Lee Berman. JE says, it is my belief that Man United have been working on personal terms to get Sesko to make his choice. If they're passively waiting for Sesko to simply choose them over Newcastle, it's a huge error. And I don't think we're doing that, JE. Mark, how do you feel about Mbeumo and Cunha playing off Xerxes? Then we could all go in on a goalkeeper. The American Gangster, I don't want to dismiss your comment because it's a super chat, but it's a news show. We're living in reality and we're trying to sign Sesko. So you're asking me a hypothetical question that probably suits better for an 8 o'clock show. We're in for Sesko. We're buying a striker. We need a striker. I'm not going to talk about Xerxes and playing off Cunha or Mbeumo because I don't want to see that, I suppose, is the answer. Newcastle's pull-out game is lame, says Juju. I'm trying to think of the punchline here. Newcastle pull out so much they'd never get anyone pregnant. Leave that. I don't know whether that's good or not. I personally, like, my favourite one was from the show last night, and it just came into my head because I'm always up for having a go at Ollie Murs in a banter way. And I said that Newcastle have been turned down more than a radio knob when an Ollie Watkins song comes on, which I quite liked. Not an Ollie Watkins song. Ollie Murs ruined it. Goldbridge is back. We are saved, says Tusha. And Ando, thank you very much for joining the members club there. Right, okay, there is other news to get into, but of interest, we had started off with Sesko. There's some interesting stuff coming out from the tour, by the way, that I want to talk about. Also, Lenny Yoro with an interesting comment saying there are a lot of people that want us to fail, and we know that. I mean, mate, welcome to Manchester United. Hated, adored, but never ignored. We'll get into that. There's also something about the midfield, which I'm actually going to discuss now because I think this is the second most interesting topic of the morning. Somebody just said then, when do you think we'll get the Sesko confirmation? Honestly, I think that we're not led by info here, but I genuinely don't think anybody is at the moment. I think there is evidence out there, and my belief is Newcastle are going to pull out and Sesko is going to choose us, and I think that's going to happen. When it's going to happen is just pure time and guesswork. People think it's today. It could be tomorrow. I don't think we'll get to Thursday. I don't. But what I think people need to remember is that if he did choose Newcastle, I think he'd be a Newcastle player by the end of the week. If he chooses Man United, then negotiations start. So I would say with total confidence, do not think Sesko's playing against Gyökeres a week on Sunday. Absolutely do not think we're doing a quick deal. When he chooses us, what's different about Mbeumo choosing us on the start of June and not signing till the middle of July? I mean, this could run till August the 31st if he decides us. So, and that might be a part of his decision making. I mean, he might be like saying to United, I'll choose you, but how long are you going to take? Because I'm ready to play football. If I go to Newcastle, I'll play opening day. If I choose you, I might not play till the middle of September. So, you know, that is something that no one's talking about as well. I would be saying, if I was Sesko, like, if I choose you, I want you to get this deal done quickly. And let's be honest, if I choose you, you're going to use that against Leipzig and drive the price down. So I think that's a consideration as well. Interesting here, coming in from The Athletic. I think it's The Athletic. Let me just double check on that journalist. It is The Athletic. It's Critchley. So he's saying Man United have been assessing their midfield options this summer. Amorim is keen to add more dynamism into the midfield. Well, absolutely correct. You're absolutely right. Manchester United have been assessing their midfield options for longer than the summer. Man United were assessing their midfield options from January because Ruben Amorim wants to bring in a midfielder. Bloody exactly. The problem is that he doesn't actually have the ability to bring a midfielder in, as we said last night, because the quality of player he would want to bring in is going to cost you in excess of £40 million, maybe even double that. And he doesn't actually have a position in his midfield at the moment to do it. So I feel like it's Tuesday today, Prazak. I feel like the midfield solutions, whilst very obvious, we're Manchester United, and not in a Gary Neville way. We're Manchester United in a way that we can only do one deal at a time. That's still a thing. We don't do business on tour, and we can only do one deal at a time. The only reason we did Mansraoui and De Ligt at the same time was because they played for the same bloody club. So we can only do one deal at a time. Cunha took us from April till June, and then Mbeumo took us from June till July, and now we're working on Sesko. So we still need a goalkeeper. still need a midfielder. We're going to run out of time, and we haven't actually got rid of anybody. So the midfield situation, I completely agree with, but I think it's going to be problematic to do. Now, there's a story this morning coming in. I don't know where it's come from. I think it's French reports, just very quickly, because someone in the chat's just mentioned it, involving Donnarumma. So Donnarumma is basically apparently open to a move to Manchester United. Can I just say, please do share the video. We've got nearly 20,000 watching this morning, which is incredible. And thank you everyone who tuned in for the late night show last night. I like doing them, just don't have any bloody news normally. So Donnarumma is apparently open to a move to Manchester United. What we know about Donnarumma is that he is arguably one of the top 3 goalkeepers in the world, if not the best. He's also got 1 year left on his contract. The question has to be, why would he choose Manchester United or anybody with 1 year left on his contract, especially when Man United are trying to adhere to a wage bill? So Donnarumma wants in excess of £200,000, which for a goalkeeper is like £300,000 of it. I mean, it was ridiculous that we paid David De Gea 350. A goalkeeper is well paid if they're on 150k a week, which is what basically Onana's on, I think. So Donnarumma would want over 200k a week. We haven't got Champions League football. I just call bullshit. I don't think Man United are in for Donnarumma at all. I think Man United are being used by Donnarumma's team to try and, convey a position of strength, because ultimately I think what Donnarumma wants to do is stay at PSG and run his contract down, or get a new contract. So I don't think the Donnarumma deal is worth anybody's time. If we sign Donnarumma, by the way, I would go, technically, surely that's our signing of the summer. I like Mbeumo and I like Cunha, but signing someone like Donnarumma, who's one of the world's best in his position, would be absolutely sensational. So I don't believe we're in for Donnarumma, but the story keeps circulating because I think it has to, because his position is quite precarious. And in that sense, using Manchester United helps him. So I don't think we're in for Donnarumma at all, if I'm being completely honest. There is something around strikers to bring you as well. 3 interesting stories here. First of all, Nicholas Jackson's been offered to Man United, Newcastle and AC Milan. We've heard this story so many times, but it's circulating again. David Ornstein's been talking about it this morning, that the likelihood of him leaving Chelsea is very, very high. Chelsea obviously want to move him on. Again, I think Chelsea are using Manchester United to generate more interest. AC Milan, I think, are interested. I don't think Newcastle are going to go. I mean, look, if you're a Newcastle fan, imagine this. You go João Pedro, Ekitike, Šeško. I'm sure they've been linked to another decent striker as well. And then you go Nicholas Jackson. And then you give Chelsea £80 million. I mean, you'd be depressed. Chelsea want £80 million for Nicholas Jackson, but could be open to a loan with an obligation to buy. For Manchester United, that would be a tragedy, and I don't think we're involved in that one at all. Ben Jacobs says that Al Nassr have made a recent inquiry for Marseille striker Mason Greenwood. What's that got to do with us? Well, there's a sell-on clause for us, and we get 50% of anything that is over and above what Marseille paid us. So I think we got 25 million. So if he went for 60, we'd get half of 35, which is what? About 18 million, isn't it? Marseille don't want to sell, and it's now unclear if Al Nassr will persist or whether Greenwood is even open to going to Saudi. Any sale now or in the future hands Man United 50% sell on. So that's interesting as well. And then also on strikers, report coming in this morning from Court Offside. So, I don't know about this one. Leverkusen want United's Rasmus, but face competition from AC Milan, Inter and Juventus. The interesting thing about Rasmus is, and we're not, well, I suppose we are here to cast opinion, is that despite I and many others not wanting him to go, because I think we need a second striker, and that's presuming we get Sesko, the market for him is big. and has always been big, like very big Italian clubs, Inter Milan, Napoli, AC Milan, Juventus, all very interested in him. Leipzig, Leverkusen. Like there's a market for Rasmus there, and ultimately, I think that we probably will push him out the door. I don't think he wants to go. I think he wants to stay. You know, obviously he's a Man United fan, but also I think he feels like the club is actually now, for the first time in his career, actually building a creativity behind him. And it would piss you off if you've been playing ahead of people like Garnacho and Anthony who don't pass. And then suddenly you've got people like Cunha and Mbeumo. But I think United are going to look at it and go, there's an opportunity to bring some money in here. Although, to be fair, it's not pure profit, is it? So keep your eyes on that. There is a lot of interest in Rasmus. And just back on Sesko, interesting story coming in from Build. Sesko is playing Newcastle and Manchester United off against each other in a game of transfer poker. Well, look, that doesn't surprise me, because the reality is there seems to be something with Sesko and his agent that they want to deliver a good price for Leipzig, which is not normal, but, you know, fair play. But let's be clear, if you've got two clubs in for you, you really don't give a shit about Leipzig. It's about going, what wages are you offering? I mean, it's just perfect. It's absolutely perfect. You can go, Newcastle are going to give me 200 grand a week, and Man United are going to give me 180 grand a week. So you go to Man United and you go, they're going to give me 200 grand a week, and keep pushing it up and you keep pushing it up. But here's a bit of an exclusive for you. And again, nobody's really talking about this. People keep going, well, Newcastle are willing to pay the money. They're showing that they want the player. They're willing to pay the money up front. They're really pushing for Leipzig, and they're really pushing for Sesko. Nobody's really talking about the fact that the best paid player at Newcastle is, I think it's Bruno G, on 160 grand a week, might be 170. He's their top paid player. Newcastle do have a wage structure. They're going to have to smash that for Sesko, because we can easily give Sesko 225 grand a week. And people go, what? Hold on a minute. This is a striker that we are investing in hugely for the next decade. This is the guy that's going to score the goals. And I can see people in the chat going, don't give him more than 150k. Look, if you can do that, that's great. But if there's one position in the team where you can justify paying them a big wage, it's the striker. It's a very important position. And we don't even need to get, look, I think he'll be on 200 grand a week at Man United. Easy. That smashes Newcastle's transfer wages, that wages system. So, again, I repeat, Newcastle's top earner is on 160, 170 grand a week. We can easily offer Sesko 200 grand a week. Can Newcastle do that easily? You know, they've got to break a wage structure that's going to disrupt some of their senior pros. Whereas, you know, Bruno's on 300k a week, isn't he? So wages could be very important involving this. And I wouldn't dismiss that. I really wouldn't. We got Xerxes because we were willing to pay a bigger agent fee, which was apparently massive. So it's not disappeared under Ineos. People seem to think under Ineos, yeah, we don't pay silly wages anymore. We do. We definitely still do. And we also pay very good agent fees as well, which is all there in United's accounts. If you want to go and check them, we pay I think the Euro one was quite big as well. So we have ways that probably won't get reported where we can spend money, and I think we will. Any news on players out, says Miles? I did expect to see some movement on outgoings as maybe part of the Sesko deal to raise some funds. But to be honest with you, it's quiet. Anthony, as we spoke about yesterday, seems to think it's justifiable to sit on his arse to try and get a loan move to Betis, which I think is a joke. Garnacho seems to think it's justifiable in a World Cup year at 21 to sit on his arse playing FIFA, waiting for Chelsea. Sancho, well, we know he thinks it's justifiable to sit on your arse and earn money. Rashford's already in Barcelona. I think he scored yesterday. And Malacia, haven't got a bloody clue. So we've basically got four players. And look, maybe sit down for this one. It's better because Rashford's gone, but we're still paying about 600 grand a week, maybe more. Sancho's on about 250, 300, I think. Anthony's on about 190. So yeah, it's about 600 grand a week we're paying to those players: Malacia, Garnacho, Sancho, and Anthony. Which every 2 weeks is over $1 million, isn't it? So it's a considerable amount of money that we're paying for those players to sit on their arse. Yeah. Sell De Ligt, says Juice World. I think De Ligt's massively underrated. I don't really get it. Anyway, just a couple of bits from the tour. This came in from The Athletic this morning. 2 weeks in the US gave Amorim time to drill players on precise positions during games, with multiple sessions in Chicago have been a case of him walking through the exact spots to occupy when the ball is in different areas. It's interesting that, because I didn't like the goal we conceded against West Ham, where we had no midfield at all. And I didn't like our positioning on crosses again, even with the back five. So hopefully we can position ourselves better on those, because I still think that there are areas where in the midfield sometimes we get overwhelmed, and crosses, especially against Everton, really, I mean, it's amazing to me how we've got a back five and we can't deal with crosses. I mean, we've literally got an extra player in there and we look really shaky on crosses again. So hopefully that's something we can work on this week. Having said that, it also goes on to say that the players are resting today before returning to Carrington tomorrow to discover the new facilities ahead of the official opening on Friday. I mean, it's like a new signing. It's like a new signing. Yeah, it's like a new signing. We've got Carrington opening up this week, so we've got a new signing coming in on Friday, which is Carrington opening up there. Let's just grab some of your comments, because I realise I've been talking for a moment and I want to get what you're saying. Thanks everybody for tuning in, by the way. Well over 20,000, absolute legends, and make sure you subscribe. Jack says, if we could only get 2, I'd drop striker. I think we've bought goals and assists who will help out Rasmus Højlund. Midfield is the main priority I would spend on with a keeper. Look, Jack, so many people were talking about this last night. So many people are talking about it again today. I don't disagree with you. I think the midfield is an intelligent fan analysis point, and it's something that United certainly acknowledge, but it ain't their priority. Their priority is the striker, and then we'll see what's next. But I don't disagree with you, Jack. But what I do sort of take issue is that we're going to sign a striker. We're not going to abandon Sesko to go for a midfield. Whether that's right or wrong, I'd put it in the category of, if we start the season with Onana and we've had 3 months of a transfer window to sign a goalkeeper, that's ridiculous. Or if Bruno fails in midfield, we're going to look stupid for not taking 100 million. So again, I think this is something you put in your back pocket and you go, look, I said it. We should have gone for a midfielder over a striker. So we'll just have to wait and see. Sell Xerxes over Rasmus, as I think he's now surplus, says Thomas. Xerxes' biggest problem is he's massively popular, but he's just not fit that much. I wonder if I can... I don't know whether we did this last week. Maybe we did, maybe we didn't. I think we did do it, because... And I don't know whether it's particularly accurate, but Xerxes had a thigh problem from the middle of April until the end of the season. And that apparently was his only injury last season. So he's only had 1 injury at Manchester United. He missed 10 games. So I wouldn't say he's necessarily an injury prone player. I just feel like he's had 2 big injuries in recent history, and they're sort of stuck in our head. But he did miss April and May with an injury, and now he's missed the start of the season with an injury. I mean, he's missed 4 games. Leeds, he's missed the whole tour. Apparently, it was a knock. Look, very, very quickly, and then we move back on to what you're talking about. I've mentioned it a few times, and I think sometimes you have to drill it down so that people really do remember it. Injury FC has not gone anywhere. We are still utilising the same people in our fitness and conditioning department, and I don't know why. And yes, we've got new facilities at Carrington, but we're still going to get injuries. And look, again, the club are very, very secretive we were told that Xerxes was missing the Leeds game with a knock. He then goes and misses the whole tour. It's not a knock. Like it can't be a knock when you're basically missing nearly a month now. It's not a knock, is it? It's some sort of tear or grade 1 ankle injury. It's not a knock. A knock is, in training I felt there was a bit of an impact on my thigh and it's just a bit of bruising. Like this, it's not a knock. He's missed all of pre-season. So, but we're not being told that. Mazraoui's missed a few weeks now as well. So injuries aren't going anywhere. Sesko will choose United. We'll pay less than Newcastle have offered, like Liverpool did with Ekitike. Let's keep the faith, says Up the Reds. Tom Baines says, when Amrim came in, he said he sees everything, dress, hair, etc. Then Ahmad comes in this season with a standout haircut, which for some reason just gave me worrying vibes. Haircut curse is real, says Tom. I think Ahmad played really well against Everton for the first 25 minutes, and then we just didn't get him on the ball enough. I think Sesko has chosen United. He's just waiting to see if United can do a deal. If he wanted to go to Newcastle, he would have gone. They are already willing to give what it takes, says Paul. Klopp behind the scenes, he will go to Newcastle, says Ronan. Sesko, yeah, but we've got Favel. We've got Favel behind the scenes. So, yeah. And also, as I said, if I'm Benjamin Sesko and Jurgen Klopp says to me, go to Newcastle, I'm going to say to him, I'd understand, mate, if you were telling me to go to Liverpool because you are a legend there. But you want me to go to Newcastle, so you're popular with Liverpool fans, and I end up going to Newcastle. Now, unless you're going to tell me that Liverpool want me, then I ain't going to listen to you because you just want me to do something to benefit Liverpool. Now, if it's me going to Liverpool, I'll listen. But I ain't going to why should I go to Newcastle so that you can look good for Liverpool fans? Sesko has chosen United. However, which United is unclear, says Turp. There's only one United. Could waiting around now put Watkins' deal at risk, says Joe. We're not in for Watkins at the moment, so I don't think we need to worry about like that at the moment. Newcastle is a step down from Leipzig, in my opinion. I think we've got Sesko in the bag, says Trey. I believe Man United power play on Sesko is lessons learned from De Jong, says Andy Mack. The good news is that Ndidi is off the table now because he's gone to Besiktas, says Rocket. Top 4 sweeping up all the big transfers makes it way harder to get top 4. But it can also make it easier to get 5th as our rivals can't replace Sales, says Slazy. I think 5th's up for grabs. It's just whether you believe that Manchester United are good enough to get there. And I agree with Patrick Lynch last night when he said we're in for a roller coaster season. You can see it against Everton. We're not going to play. The reason it'll be a roller coaster season, even if it's good, is that we aren't ready yet to play well week in, week out. We'll have games where we do really, really well, and then we'll go Everton away and we'll be shit. And we're going to have that up and down. But that you can finish 5th with that. I mean, Chelsea had a. You look at last season, like I think people go, we've got no chance of 5th because we're going to definitely lose games. And I agree that. But Chelsea had a really bad time in the second half of the season and still got 4th. Newcastle at times had a bad season and they still got 5th. Thanks for speaking the truth on the price, Mark. Most people are panicking, never wanted Sesko and are just using the fee as an excuse. Stay the course, as to be so. Thank you very much for your super chat. It's so simple. Sesko wants Man United. He's waiting for Man United. I don't get the meat meltdown, says Sadiq. I have a feel it's going to be Anthony Rasmus all over again, says Not Like That. We can't walk away. We need a number 9. Come on, United, says Fez. And as someone said last night, if you walk away, there's less than 4 weeks left in the window. So you've just wasted a week. And then you've got to start again. Like there is 4 weeks are going to go like that. So you walk away and you start on somebody else. Forget goalkeeper or midfielder. You might not even get the bloody striker. Chris says, I still think Klopp has a big say. I understand that, Chris. But then, as I said before, why does he have a big say? He's telling you to go to another club to help his old club. He's not telling you to go to his old club. So I'd tell him to jog on, really. Price is why Arsenal chose Gyökeres. Even £75 million is cheap if he's a success this season, and even 20 million is too much if he doesn't. Gamble we have to take. And I think this is a great point, Andres. I said this about Mbeumo. Some people said £65 million for Mbeumo is too much. And I said, but even if you paid 50, it's still an expensive amount if he flops. 65 might be slightly too much for Mbeumo, but at the end of the day, if he flops at 55, he flops. So, I don't think it's that relevant. Sir Alex has done that one. Okay, let me come back to this Yoro comment because I know we are sort of running out of time. So this was Yoro speaking on the tour. There are a lot of people that want us to fail, and we know that. But there are also a lot of people that want us to do great things. We just focus on the fans. We don't care about what they say outside. Everyone said bullshit about us last year. I understand, because we didn't do really well, but this season will be different. I mean, that's just a good mentality from Yoro at the end of the day. He's a young kid as well. So he might not know what we know, in the sense that when you're Manchester United, people will talk shit about you. I mean, literally, there's a radio station called that does it every single day. They wake up in the morning and say, what can we say about Amorim or Man United today? It's a constant. So that will keep happening. And it's good for a young player at Man United who's only been here a year to figure that out. There will be people in our fan base that are negative, though. So it's saying, we'll focus on the fans, but there are people in the fans that are quite vocal. There's Amorim outers in the fans. They were there last year. So I think that, we've got to realistically, my God, somebody's just sent me a screenshot here of basically, I'm not going to give them a shout out, but yeah, there are content creators and people on Twitter basically saying, walk away, the fee is ridiculous. I think they've got low IQ. I really do think they've got low IQ. I'm sorry. Like, we've been through this 3 times now. They must be really, really low IQ. Walk away now. The fee is ridiculous. I'm sorry, with all due respect, 3 days ago, they were all going Sesko. Oh, what a great deal. Nothing has changed. Like literally nothing has changed. The price was 69 million 3 days ago, and people are going, walk away now. It's almost like the brain doesn't kick in on add-ons and currency. 90 million euros, walk away. They think it's 90 million pounds. It's 80 million euros plus 10 million euros in add-ons. You don't pay the add-ons unless they're a success. You'd be happy to pay those add-ons because he'd be a success. So 90 million euros is the full package, but 10 million euros of that would mean he's been a bloody success. You'd happily pay it. So it's basically 80 million euros, pounds, 70 million. It's a 70 million pound deal. And that's what it was last week. He's always been 70 million. And we've got people out there going, walk away. Walk away. It's ridiculous. And if he's successful, it's 77 million, because that's 90 million euros package. So if we end up paying 77 million pounds for Sesko, that means he's come in, he's probably scored a shitload of goals. We've probably qualified for the Champions League, and he's probably scored a load of goals in that, because that's what those add-ons will be about. And you've got people going, walk away. It's ridiculous. You're ridiculous for not using your brain. You're outing yourselves. It's really sad. God. I'd respect those people if they wanted us to walk away from the start, but they didn't. They were celebrating it last week. Yeah, people need to figure it out. We don't need to walk away. It's the same fee as it was last week. And we haven't even decided. Nobody even knows what our game is. And our game is simple. We want Sesko. I think he wants us. Patience is what's the problem here. People have seen Newcastle people are even saying, why haven't we bid? Have you ever negotiated for anything in your life? Like, if somebody wants the car that you want and they're going, I'll bid you this, I'll bid you this, I'll bid you this. You don't have to jump in and start going this. It's going to cost you more money. You wait for the right time. And Man United are waiting on Sesko, and Sesko decides. Simple as that. I don't know what Beth said. If she has said walk away, she needs to get herself back to school and understand currency conversion rates. But to be fair, Beth did very, very well at university, and I'd say she's more intelligent than me on that sort of thing. So I very much doubt she hasn't understood that. So be fair to Beth. Hi, Mark. Loving the channel. Do you prefer Onana for the season opener without game time in pre-season or Binder? Benjamin, you had to ruin it, didn't you? You've had to ruin it. We've had a really positive, pragmatic show, and you go and throw that in just to ruin everyone's morning. I mean, that is, that is a very, very big worry, concern, to be honest. Right. I'm on Terry's channel at 11 o'clock. It's one of my favourite shows of the week that I do off this channel. It's Hot Takes. So we basically react to some stupid opinions live. We'll be doing that in 10 minutes. I'm just going to go and grab myself a coffee. Hopefully, we will be back with you at some point today, reacting to something significant around Sesko. If not, we're back live at 2 o'clock as always, and the 8 o'clock shows have been brilliant the last few weeks, so we'll be live then. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, I think, you know what it is? I think with maturity and working with you lot on a daily basis, it provides intelligence and rationality. And I think some people have seen the 90 million and completely had a head loss. And as somebody that has a tendency to have head losses on very limited information, I'm trying my best to be rational. And 90 million euros is not 90 million pounds. And 80 million euros is not 80 million pounds. It's 70. And people just need to figure that one out, and then they'll calm down. Great show, everybody. Take care. Stay safe. I'll see you in a few minutes on Terry's channel. Thanks for watching.